Welcome to Mysteries and Crime, where we delve into humanity's darkest shadows. Tonight, we unearth the chilling saga of the Toy Box Killer, a man whose unassuming exterior masked unspeakable horror. But hidden within his trailer was one object that changed everything. Can you spot the clue before the end? Between the mid-1990s and the year 2000, a small New Mexico town was the silent backdrop to an alleged string of kidnappings and torture. David Parker Ray, known as the Toy Box Killer, is suspected of targeting dozens of women. Yet, no bodies were ever definitively recovered. March 2nd, year 2000. In the desert town of Elephant Butte, New Mexico, a woman ran, naked, bloodied, and chained, through the quiet streets. Her name was Cynthia Vigil, and her story unraveled one of the most disturbing cases in modern American history. According to reports, Cynthia had been kidnapped the night before. She told police she was taken to a trailer outfitted with chains, surgical tools, and video cameras, a place Ray allegedly called his toy box. She claimed she was drugged, restrained, and told she was going to be used for his pleasure and the pleasure of others. When authorities arrived at David Parker Ray's home, they found the trailer just as described. Inside were dozens of items: whips, pulleys, syringes, diagrams of female anatomy, and a chilling audio tape Ray allegedly played for his victims. The walls were lined with mirrors, cameras mounted in every corner. The discovery triggered a massive investigation. Ray, his girlfriend Cindy Hendy, and 2 other associates were arrested within hours. But as authorities combed through years of records, photos, and videotapes, the question wasn't just what happened to Cynthia. It was, how many others came before her? The full number of David Parker Ray's alleged victims may never be known, but several names and stories stand out, each one painting a chilling portrait of horror and survival. Cynthia Vigil was a sex worker in Albuquerque. On March 1st, she was approached by a man posing as an undercover police officer. According to her testimony, Ray lured her into his RV, handcuffed her, and drove her to his trailer. There, she endured hours of unspeakable abuse before escaping when Ray left the keys within reach during an argument with his girlfriend, Cindy Hendy. Another key figure, Angelica Montano, claimed she had been kidnapped by Ray a year earlier. Like Cynthia, she was drugged, bound, and tortured. After her release, she reportedly went to the police, but her claims were dismissed as drug-induced hallucinations. She died of heart failure shortly after Ray's arrest. A potential witness silenced before she could testify. Kelly Garrett, a former friend of Ray's daughter, disappeared in 1996. Her account only came to light years later, when she realized her missing memory fit Ray's pattern. She remembered going to a party, blacking out, and waking up days later, bruised, with no idea what had happened. Each survivor had been dismissed at some point, written off as unreliable due to their backgrounds. But together, their testimonies formed a horrifying puzzle, one that pointed to a man hiding in plain sight, a man who may have walked among them for decades, unnoticed. David Parker Ray, born in 1939, was a retired mechanic for the New Mexico Parks Department. Described by neighbors as quiet, polite, and unremarkable, Ray hid a disturbing obsession. According to FBI profiles, he was allegedly fascinated with sexual domination, sadism, and torture since adolescence. Investigators later uncovered journals, stretching back decades, detailing crimes that matched missing persons cases across the Southwest. Ray called his custom-built trailer a toy box, a chamber allegedly filled with torture devices of his own design. He recorded and documented many of his crimes, keeping photos and tapes as trophies. His accomplice, Cindy Hendy, was more than just a bystander. She admitted to helping Ray abduct and torture women. During her trial, she claimed she was manipulated, but court transcripts revealed she participated willingly, even helping to subdue victims. Another name emerged: Glenda Jessie Ray, David's daughter. Though charges were ultimately dropped against her, some victims claimed she had been involved in their captivity, raising even more questions about the depths of Ray's operation. Dennis Yancey, another alleged accomplice, confessed to murdering Marie Parker in 1997 under Ray's orders. Her body was never found. Despite these arrests, no confirmed remains were discovered. Authorities found hundreds of pieces of evidence, including jewelry, clothing, and personal items suspected to belong to victims. But without bodies, most cases remain cold. And so, a grim reality took shape. A killer may have operated undetected for decades, in plain view. What investigators uncovered inside David Parker Ray's trailer would scar even seasoned law enforcement. The trailer itself was parked beside his double-wide mobile home in Elephant Butte, a remote desert town. From the outside, it looked like any utility vehicle. Inside, it was something else entirely. They called it the toy box, lined with soundproof insulation and bolted steel. The trailer was a chamber of torment. Every square inch was used with purpose. Hooks hung from the ceiling. Straps and chains were attached to a custom-built gynecological chair, outfitted with leg stirrups, restraints, and motorized tools. On the walls, diagrams of female anatomy, shelves full of syringes, surgical blades, clamps, and items no one dared describe out loud. Most disturbing was the tape, a chilling cassette that Ray allegedly played for each new victim, recorded in his calm, deliberate voice. On it, he detailed what they would endure, how long it might last, and why resistance was futile. "You are here for my pleasure," he said on the tape. According to transcripts, "You will be kept chained, used repeatedly, and there's no escape." According to police reports and survivor testimonies, victims were kept for days, even weeks, drugged and bound. Some were reportedly forced to watch videos of other captives being tortured to break their will. Others were photographed, cataloged, and their images stored in albums. Authorities recovered hundreds of these photos. Ray also allegedly used electric shocks, medical instruments, and psychological abuse. He kept detailed logs, noting each victim's response, endurance, and compliance. According to recovered journals, he claimed to have taken and disposed of as many as 60 women. But without bodies, these numbers could never be verified. Among the many tools discovered was a mirror system. It allowed victims to see themselves during the ordeal, heightening the psychological horror. Law enforcement called it a system of calculated cruelty. It wasn't just about physical pain, it was about destroying the human spirit. The scope of the operation raised urgent questions. How could such a facility exist unnoticed for years? Neighbors later told reporters they heard strange noises, but assumed it was Ray working on mechanical projects. No one suspected the truth. Perhaps the most haunting detail was the collection of personal items, jewelry, IDs, clothing, all carefully stored in labeled containers. These were the only remnants of lives allegedly taken, and they remain unclaimed to this day. But one object stood out: a video camera, still loaded with a cassette. The contents showed what had been feared: a woman, bound, crying, struggling to scream through a gag. It was this video, presented in court, that turned rumor into reality. And it begs the question, was that camera the key to unlocking everything? From the moment Cynthia Vigil escaped, the investigation escalated rapidly. Local police, joined by the FBI, secured the trailer and quickly realized this was no isolated case. The first challenge was scale. Over 1,000 items were removed from the property, including tapes, tools, written logs, and what appeared to be trophies. Each item had to be cataloged and traced. Investigators released photos of jewelry and clothing, hoping the public might recognize a loved one's belongings. The second challenge was silence. Many women believed to be victims were missing, with no bodies. Some survivors had been discredited in the past or were afraid to come forward again. Still, police pressed forward. A task force was formed. Canine units searched Elephant Butte Lake. Cadaver dogs hit on possible burial sites, but no remains were confirmed. Investigators now had names, places, recordings. But without forensic proof, charges were hard to make stick. Forensic teams scoured the trailer and nearby areas for DNA, blood, anything that could confirm the crimes. But Ray had been meticulous. The trailer was regularly cleaned and many tools sterilized. What evidence they did recover, hair strands, skin fragments, were often degraded. In many cases, there were no matching DNA profiles. Modern technology helped. Several years after the arrest, cold case units began retesting old evidence with updated methods. One tape, enhanced with digital audio, helped identify Kelly Garrett, a woman long presumed missing, now alive. Her memories returned slowly, confirming what others had described. Despite this progress, many forensic leads ran cold. Items were traced, but their owners were never found. And the journals, though full of disturbing entries, couldn't be confirmed as literal confessions. Ray wrote in the abstract, in fantasy-like tones, without physical remains. Investigators were left with questions, and the families were left with silence. Elephant Butte was never the same. The community, small, quiet, and largely overlooked, was thrust into a national spotlight. According to local reports, fear spread fast. Parents kept their children inside. Residents locked their doors, even during the day. Rumors circulated. Some believed a mass grave would be uncovered. Others feared Ray hadn't acted alone, and that someone still roamed free. Support groups formed for missing persons' families across New Mexico. People began revisiting old cases, questioning whether loved ones had been victims of the toy box. What haunted most wasn't what had been found. It was what might still be buried. National headlines branded him the toy box killer, though no murder charges ever stuck. Major networks aired special reports dissecting the trailer's contents. Talk shows speculated wildly, with some guests alleging satanic rituals or secret cults, claims never proven. Journalists descended on Elephant Butte, filming the trailer and interviewing neighbors. The FBI was inundated with calls about missing women from across the country. While the coverage kept pressure on law enforcement, it also blurred the line between fact and fiction. Alleged crimes became tabloid fodder, but one truth remained. That trailer was real, and so were the screams inside it. With no confirmed murders, investigators and the public were left with theories, not answers. Ray's journals allegedly listed dozens of victims, but authorities could only verify a few survivors. The rest vanished. Law enforcement theorized that Ray disposed of bodies in Elephant Butte Lake, a massive reservoir, nearly impossible to search completely. There was also speculation about a broader network, with Cindy Hendy, Dennis Yancey, and even Ray's daughter reportedly involved. Some suspected an organized ring, but no formal charges ever tied them to a larger conspiracy. Another theory held that Ray had accomplices who were never caught. Witnesses described seeing multiple people at the trailer, some men, some women. But leads dried up quickly. Despite years of searching, no additional bodies were recovered. What remained were tapes, photos, and chilling words on paper. But the truth behind many names remains buried in silence. David Parker Ray was arrested in March of 2000, but the legal battle that followed was long and complicated. He was charged in the Cynthia, Vigil, and Angelica Montano cases, but with no bodies and limited physical evidence, the prosecution's path was difficult. Then came a break. Kelly Garrett, the woman on one of the recovered tapes, came forward. Her testimony helped seal a deal. Rather than face trial on multiple counts, Ray agreed to a plea deal in the year 2001. He received 224 years in prison, but just days after sentencing, David Parker Ray died of a heart attack in his jail cell. He was 62 years old. Cindy Hendy cooperated with prosecutors. She received 36 years and was released in 2019. Many families felt justice was incomplete. Ray never faced murder charges, and his secrets may have died with him. Despite years of investigation, key questions remain. How many victims were there really? What happened to the women in the photos? The ones never identified? And were there more tapes, more accomplices, still undiscovered? The trailer was dismantled. The lake never fully searched. The stories? They still echo. Some believe there are bodies hidden across the desert. Others think Ray kept trophies that were never found. And the biggest question of all, was there something or someone the public never saw? The toy box may be gone, but its legacy still haunts New Mexico and beyond. Elephant Butte, once a quiet lakeside town, became a symbol of unspeakable horror. After the case, local police improved their missing persons protocols. The FBI created databases to better track potential serial offenders. Cold case units across the U.S. reopened files with eerie similarities. David Parker Ray didn't just traumatize his victims. He forced an entire country to re-examine how we investigate the unseen and how easily evil can hide in plain sight. So now we ask you, what object found inside the trailer revealed the darkest secrets of David Parker Ray? Could a different turn of events have changed everything? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more haunting cases from the shadows of justice. As always, stay curious, stay vigilant, and stay safe.